common man. Common man, charms the housewives like no one can. What'd you shoot?
Where'd we play?
Non-stop nonsense on deck today. Tune in, it's time for Common Man.
Oh, boy. Why should anybody aspire to be a common man, an average man? Do you realize what it means to be average? That means you're the best of the lousiest, and the lousiest of the best. Now, if we demand more and more for producing less and less, while the have-not nations encourage and inspire and indeed require hard work and maximum effort, if we deify the common men while they encourage and reward the uncommon ones, well, the end result of such a lopsided race as that is too obvious to require elaboration.
I mean, it's like, hello?
Brilliant!
You say?
A whole lot of character. I just want to say, you doubted us, but now we're here.
I'm not going to say a lot of people counting us out. I heard Dan Cole on KFAN today.
We're on live right now.
But I heard Dan Cole on KFAN say, I don't want to hear that, so I'm not going to say that. A lot of people counting us out.
Columbia 300 launches a Spanish version of the website, and I think, as we know with everything going on right now in the United States with the Spanish speaking and everything, this is pretty huge, I guess, for them to take the step there to put a Spanish version website out.
Well, I guess it's kind of got to happen because the Spanish are beginning to take such a stronghold in life itself, and they can no longer be ignored.
I think we have a very good mix right now. I mean, the morning show does well, comparatively speaking, especially given what it has to go against. Dubers and I have done well, knock on wood, for 4 years. Common and Hartman have done okay, and Barrero is, in my estimation, the primetime player on our station. And cultivating a couple of kids in Sludge and Lake, and you know, we have the Vikings and maybe some things down the road. So I think we're strong right now.
Let's play.
Wow, what a great big bubble mind. Wow, what a great loosey-goosey sports mind. Wow, what a great mocking and ridiculing a colleague for suggesting that opposing defensive backs would be hiding and diving away from Adrian Peterson as the season goes on mind.
Rosa, you don't know nothing.
He's the clown from Brown. He's the fourth in the north. This is the common man, Dan Cole.
Yeah, that's me. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. And if I'm supposed to be somebody else, why do I look like me? We're here until 3 of the lack-ack-a-dack and dack-dack-a-ack. 2 and yours. Yesterday we were discussing, not the entire show, but it brought up, we killed a segment, or literally killed, literally and figuratively just killed a segment, just butchered it. Talking about technology and how... It's great. I mean, think about when, and this really wasn't an invention, but, when Og and Grog first discovered fire. And we can cook stuff. We don't have to eat raw meat anymore. And get, what do you get from raw meat? Salmonella, or is it listeria? You just die from something, right? That's why cavemen didn't live to be very long, because they were eating raw meat that was infected with all sorts of parasites, right? I don't know if any of that's true, but just go with it with me. And then the best one was, tend to be, was when they invented the wheel. So they didn't have to just drag stuff behind them. I mean, think about it. You kill a brontosaurus. He's big. Brontosaurus is huge. I mean, you got to just drag him by the head and the neck back to the cave. Yeah. It could take you a week and a half, depending on how far the hunt was. Well, now you got a couple of wheels, you make a little wagon and you throw them on there, and boom, you can just wheel them back home. And so technology, and if you want to call those technological advances, and I think they do, they're pretty good. And I don't know, you've got just having, like, instruments to like hunt with. You'll see those archaeological sites where they'll find little arrowheads that, this was about the same time the Egyptians were building the pyramids. You'll find these. So you have hunting implements and this and that and the other thing. And then it's gone from there where, finally, horseless carriage. And when they invented when Ford Motor Company made the car, the Model T, the Model A, the Model B, C, D, E, F, and G, whatever the case may be. And so when we were talking about after, different generations grew up with different technology. I saw this story tend to be on my handheld computer, which doubles as a communication device. And it was one of those, almost like if you were alive back then, well, I'll tell you what, it's a boomers thing, it's called. If you've done at least 15 of these 35 things, you're 100% a boomer.
Ooh.
Number one, have you ever manually cranked a car window up or down?
Yes.
I have too. But you actually have.
Sure.
How many people do you think?
I don't know if I use the word crank, but the one where you're, yeah.
Yeah, the crank.
Yeah.
Now, how many
crank
people?
Sounds heavier duty, but yeah.
Your children will never manually crank up a car window.
No.
Never. Just never going to. Unless they get into old school cars and buy a 1966 Pontiac GTO. Otherwise it's just never going to happen. How about this? Have you ever watched television on a TV that had no remote control and just dials? Yes.
I think I have.
I have.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I remember the Chies family lived next door to us when I was growing up at 1033 86th Avenue Northwest in Coon Rapids. You had the top of the hill and the bottom of the hill. We were at the bottom of the hill. Matter of fact, that home is now on the National Historic Registry site where Common Man grew up. And the Chies family had a TV with a remote control. They were the only ones that had it. And we were just in awe of it. You'd go over to their house and I'm not making this up. You'd hit it. The actual it was like a ghost was turning it, right? Or an invisible man. Because you would press the button and the actual channel knob would click, clunk, 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 clunk. It would turn and go to, but that was the only remote control. That was, in the infancy of remote controls. Have you ever used a computer that could not be connected to the internet? I didn't even know that existed. But apparently there was a time where there was a computer. Have you ever gotten or sent a fax?
Yes.
Nobody uses a fax machine now, right? So think about that. You're not a boomer, but
I feel like I am.
You've got some boomer tendencies to you. Have you ever bought or gone into a bathroom that had colored toilet paper?
No.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, and they show them. Northern had blue, pink, yellow, and green. And people.
Why don't they still do that?
I don't know. Why? Maybe because the dye. We're all about environmental. Maybe the dye for that. But what you would do is you would have. Did you know there was a time where people would have? The toilet lid. They actually had like a cover for that was made out of. It looked like an Afghan that your grandma would make, or a sweater. And you would put it on, and it had ties, and it would be on the lid to make the toilet look more attractive. And they had these, for your extra a roll of toilet paper, it looked like a top hat. And again, it was the same thing was made. Somebody had to knit it. And so if they were, let's say they decided to do blue, well, then they would buy blue toilet paper and blue throw rugs, and your towels were blue. They were trying to be color coordinated. They don't do that anymore, I don't think. Here's another for you, Tennessee. Have you ever watched a movie at a drive-in movie theater?
Yes.
Barely can do it now. I think I know of one for sure. I think it still exists. Valley High over in the Cottage Grove area, or is that gone now? I mean, drive-in movie theaters, I think most people know, used to be everywhere. Mm-hmm. When I was growing up in the 60s, we had 65 High. What was the one that was on 694 where the, what company has their headquarters there now? Right on 694 in Fridley and Mounds View, Cumberland.
Like Medtronic?
Medtronic, where Medtronic's headquarters is, used to be a two-screen drive-in movie theater too. They were everywhere, and that was the cheap entertainment for the family. Mom and Pop would load us up in the car, and you know what? The kids, you'd wear your pajamas into the movie theater in the car. And you'd pull up and you'd take that speaker hanging on a post and you'd put it on your window, and then that was your speaker to listen to the movie. Certainly not Dolby surround sound. And then when we were teenagers, what we'd do? This is how we would actually steal a couple of speakers, then hook our radio up to it. Even though it was a terrible sound, we just thought it was cool that we had movie theater speakers that we stole. You ever sneak into a drive-in movie theater, tell me?
I think I've only been to a drive-in movie theater like once.
As teenagers, you'd load up. One guy would drive in, and he'd have 8 kids in the trunk of the car. And the guy checking you in knew, because the back of the car is dragging across the pavement, right? Yeah, 1. Well, yeah, and of course, you'd get out of the trunk of the car. Drive-in movie theaters, they don't exist anymore. Here's another for you. Have you ever made Nestle's Quick when it came in a tin can?
No.
Used to come in a tin can. I remember those days. Had a little top on you actually pulled the top, it was like a cap, and you pulled it off the top. Inverted cap. And you would dip your spoon into it, and that's how you did it. Have you ever flown on a plane that had phones attached to the back seats?
No.
Yes, I did. They used to be attached to the back seats. Ever been on a flight that allowed smoking? I've smoked on a flight before. That's how. Oh yeah,
that's disgusting.
Well, they in the armrests, they had an ashtray.
Disgusting.
You could smoke on the plane. Have you ever balanced a checkbook?
Yes.
You balanced 3: yours, your wife's, and your joint account. Have you ever gone into the bank to deposit your check or withdraw money because it was Friday and you needed money for the weekend? It's all direct deposit now. Nobody uses cash. But you would have to go to the bank.
That's what I do when I first started working.
Yeah. You'd get it. You'd cash a check. You'd come out, and you'd get cash for the weekend. Last one. There's more, but last one for you for now. Have you ever looked up a phone number in a phone book?
Of course.
Nobody does that now, though, right?
No.
I mean, I still think I get a phone book on my steps. The yellow pages and white pages, people are trying to stay in business. That just goes right into the recycling bin, right? What a waste of paper. All you got to do is Google the number. But those were the days, Tenneby. Those were then. So technology has changed a lot of things, including how radio shows are going to operate. I'll explain that on the other side of the break. This is life-changing, John. What I'm trying to tell you is you might want to find a new industry. We'll do that, but before we do that, we want to give somebody a keyword to try to put $1,000 in their hand.
The fan wants to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword grand at KFAN.com now for a shot at winning. That keyword is grand. Enter now at KFAN.com. Grand in your hand is back on KFAN. We have 9 chances for you to win $1,000 every weekday. That's every hour from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To enter the keywords and learn more, head over to KFAN.com.
Bad news, Untold Valley High is now a Walmart. You can buy movies at Walmart. Matter of fact, it was crazy. I went to Walmart the other day looking for a pair of athletic socks, and I came home with Home Alone 2 on Blu-ray DVD. I should incorporate that into my stand-up.
That's genius.
Genius. Lucky. We do have another show coming up. I know we said we weren't going to do it. We already committed. Boy. It's one of our clients. It's Forgotten Star. You've been to Forgotten Star, Tenneby. We did our Rue party there.
We just had our company holiday party there.
Oh, and you had your... Yeah, that's right. There. That's right. I did not. You were the only air staff member that went. Do you know that?
On KFAN, yes.
Yes. You were the only one.
Technically, Lil B was there.
I'm an every other year guy. I went last year. But we will be returning to Forgotten Star later this month. More on that later. A couple of other people have emailed in, and they are texted in. That is, that's another technological advancement. The Brad John Bryant KFAN text line at 64686. With your telephone, you can deliver us a message. You can call. That was, I think that was Thomas Edison that invented the telephone. 1-800-320-5326. Also, send an emails, which seems archaic now. An email? Are you kidding me? Do people even do that anymore? But the emails at booth@kfan.com, and then there's the talkbacks and other technological advance. It's just, it's crazy. If you have the iHeartRadio app, you search for stations, find the fan, tap the microphone icon in the corner. You got 30 seconds to deliver us an audio message. Maybe we'll do some of that today during that 1:30 segment, 1:30 to 2. Anything on your mind you want to talk about, go ahead and send us one right now, and I'll try to call through those as the afternoon progresses. So we have one giveaway. I forgot to mention another. We're going to give away another $100 gift card to 5 Iron Golf. Don't forget, a week from tonight. I thought yesterday was Thursday, so I kept going, a week from tonight. No, it's a week from tonight. February 6th will be the grand opening. Common will be there 5 to 7. Closest to the pin contest, you can verbally slap me on the back, touch the hem of my garment, and watch me hit knockdown, punch, cut, fade. There are people out there say, oh, yeah, you say you're a really good golfer, but I don't know. I've never seen you. Well, now is your opportunity to see me hit. You pick the hole, you pick the course. I'll hit knockdown, punch, cut, fade draws all day long. So I have a close to the pin contest. We're going to give away prizes, including tickets to the Wild, the Wolves, and a gift card. So a lot of cool stuff going on. RSVP to them. They just want to know how many people they're going to get. I think they're testing the waters. See if they're going to have to, we have to knock out a wall and put in another hitting bay for when Common comes. It's free.
Or maybe the other way where they need to be like the Metrodome and Target Center, put up curtains over certain areas to make it look smaller. It's going to sell out. There's going to be lots of people there for 5 Iron Golf because it's a great place to play golf, and Common is awesome to meet.
And it won't cost you a dime. It's just free. So, now someone says Valley High is not Walmart. I've had several people tell me, oh, it just closed. The Cottage Grove Drive-In was separate. Valley High is in Lake Elmo. Both are closed. I don't think there are any more that are open anywhere, at least in the Twin Cities metropolitan area. And I guess, to be honest, I don't know why anybody, other than for nostalgia's sake. I mean, put it this way. I should have taken my boys to a drive-in movie theater when it was still around. I should have said, let's go to the drive-in. What do you mean drive-in movie? Yeah. The only part about drive-in movies is, here's where you were caught. If you roll down the windows, they would fumigate, by the way. They would spray for mosquitoes because there'd be so many mosquitoes. And if they didn't spray enough, you have your windows down and you get eaten alive by mosquitoes while you're watching a movie. It's very challenging to watch a movie at a drive-in movie. And then you had to make sure the windshield was clean, right? Because you were looking through the windshield at the movie screen. So there were issues. It wasn't like just going to Netflix and dialing up a movie. It was work. And then you had to go to the concession stand and go get popcorn unless you brought your own. So there was work to it. Somebody mentioned telephone booth.
By the way, I've Googled drive-in movie theaters in Minnesota.
Yep.
And you never know how recent these stories are because it doesn't say a date on it.
Right.
But is there an Elko Drive-In in Elko, New Market? Starlight Drive-In in Litchfield? Long Drive-In Theater, Long Prairie?
Really?
Vern Drive-In in Laverne? And Sky View Drive-In in Warren, Minnesota.
Warren is up by where my dad used to live before he passed away, up by Carlstead, Strandquist.
30-minute drive from East Grand Forks, Thief River Falls.
Okay, yeah. Incredible. Someone said Skyview Drive-In is open. Elko still has a drive-in. I think I might have to do it. Maybe we should do an appearance at a drive-in.
Yes. What movie? Dumb and Dumber. That sounds good. I'm there.
How about Around with the Common Man? You're in it.
Oh, boy.
You starred in that movie. Tell me if you've ever wanted to be a movie star. I am. How many people do you think actually...
Handsomely paid, too.
How many people do you think actually watched Around with the Common Man? A couple 13, 14? Indie Film Guy did a brilliant job, though. I know you saw some clips of it. I mean, he's a real movie guy. He won awards for doing independent films. He just didn't have much for subject matter when he decided to do a documentary on me, but he ended up putting together a pretty good piece. It's kind of fun, but...
Didn't we shoot some sort of commercial for it, too?
We made, yeah, it was a
I remember you like sitting in a mirror, and
It was a trailer, and we did it over at one of the TV stations, I think. Yeah, it was a trailer where I'm looking in the mirror and I'm talking about how great I am, and you're coming in. Yeah, it's pretty, the trailer's actually really good, I thought.
I was wearing my pink shirt.
Yes, I thought my acting chops, I thought I was sort of a combination of, God, I don't have 3 actors. Somebody needs to come up with 3 actors whose names rhyme. I already do the one I was, when I do comedy, it's Jerry Stiller, Dennis Miller, Jerry Stiller, and Phyllis Diller. I need 3 actors whose names rhyme that people would recognize. But anyway, we were talking about technology. And I think I told you yesterday, Tennessee, everybody, I think, gets to a point in their life where they've had enough of technology. This one's too complicated for me. I can't get past it. For me, it was when the microwave oven came out. When the microwave came out, I said, well, I'm done. This is beyond my capabilities. I don't understand it. And I don't even know how to operate one. And to this day, I don't know how to operate one. But there has been AI, artificial intelligence, does seem like it is the one technological advance that will change everything we do, everything we listen to, everything we talk to. It seems like it's going to replace human beings, even more so than a computer, right? And I always thought that talk radio would be immune to that, right? Because Tennessee, is AI really going to be able to break down when J.J. McCarthy throws 2 fourth-quarter interceptions, return for tutties, pick sixes, and the Vikings lose to the Packers? How is he going to break that down? So I thought, well, let's test. Let's test AI, okay, and what they can do. As we go to break, Tennessee, I want to tease the next break. So I went to Grok, which is Twitter's version of AI, and I said, how should Dan Cole, the common man, a talk show host, tease his next segment about the Timberwolves? Here was the response. Dan Cole, the common man, could tease his next segment about the Minnesota Timberwolves with a mix of humor, local pride, and anticipation. Here's a suggestion for how he could do that. Ready? Start playing the music, Tennessee. Because we are going to break. All right, as we go to break, all right, folks, buckle up, because coming up next, we're diving into the world of the Minnesota Timberwolves. This isn't just about basketball. It's about the heartbeat of our city. And they're finally going to make it. Are they finally going to make it past the first round of the playoffs? Or will they leave us howling in disappointment again? Tune in and find out if the Wolves are finally going to show their teeth or if they'll need to go back to the doghouse. Don't miss it right after this break. Boy, that'll keep them listening, won't they? Because you know what? Here's what AI doesn't realize. They must not have found out about last night's game. Here's your tease for next break. Why does it take the coach to have to scream and holler at a team during a film session? That's not even enough. Then he's got to get thrown out of a game just to get the team to play it up to their capabilities. How can it be this way? We'll talk about that next. When it comes to the Timberwolves on the Common Man program on the Fan.
Get ready to experience the raw energy of 9 Inch Nails live.
9 Inch Nails live with their intense performances.
Trent Reznor and the band are hitting the road for an electrifying tour you won't want to miss. Catch them at XL Energy Center on August 17th for a night of unforgettable music and intense performances. Tickets are on sale now. Get all the details at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Generally, during the noon hour, we do Peek at the Purple, brought to you by Affordable Electric. There really isn't much going on with the Purple right now, so how about Whiff of the Wolves? Whiff of the Wolves, brought to you by Affordable Electric. Protect your home against lightning and power company surges with a whole house electrical safety inspection from Affordable Electric. Nick will install a whole house surge protector and use individual surge protectors on sensitive electronics. If you're doing a kitchen or a bathroom remodel, you'll need an electrician. And family-owned Affordable Electric is the perfect choice. Affordable Electric. Set up an appointment today, affordable-electric.com. Affordable Electric. They're shockingly affordable. Got this text message right after I teased our Timberwolves segment. Which do you think was a better tease? The AI one about, the Timberwolves, the heartbeat of the city? Will they return to the thrilling days of yesteryear or tell the truth, the whole truth, or some semblance of the truth? I guess the whole point of this is AI is, what? Come on in, AI. The water's warm. I'm throwing out a challenge to artificial intelligence.
Wait till it gets smarter, though.
Yeah, well, hopefully by then they'll be replacing you in this chair, not me, because I'll be long gone by then. But this text message came and it says, can't wait for your wet blanket take on the Wild. Why would there be one? They get the news that they lose their best player, a front runner for the Hart Trophy, for at least 4 weeks, maybe more. They go on the road and play one of the best teams in the East, the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they beat them 3-1. What wet blanket is there to throw on?
Now what do you think?
Yeah, what wet blanket am I supposed to throw on a performance like that? That's a team who they got awful news about their best player, and again, maybe the best player in the league, the most valuable this year, trending in that direction. Playing a tough Toronto team on the road, they come back and they win.
Yeah.
Well, what wet blanket am I supposed to throw on that? Meanwhile, now the Wolves did win, but here's the headline, Fish Wrap West Side. Timberwolves surge away from Phoenix after Coach Chris Finch's morning anger leads to evening ejection. Here's the subheadline. The coach, quote, woke up choosing violence. Went at the players harshly during a film session and didn't cool before he got tossed. Violence? When is getting chewed out considered violent?
It's a kid's term.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I'm getting it. Yeah, you're right. But it's like he woke up choosing violence. It is a kid's term, but it's and maybe a lot of kids' terms are.
Well, for the kids these days, that is considered violence.
I guess, yeah. Back in our days, it was a swift kick in the butt. Speaking of inventions or technology that's gone by the wayside, how about getting taken down to the boiler room and getting paddled by the teacher for misbehavior? We used to call that not capital punishment. They didn't kill you. It felt like you were going to die. I call it corporal punishment. They don't do that in schools anymore, and they shouldn't. I'm not suggesting they bring it back. But that's when the teacher chose violence. When told of Alexander Walker's assessment, because it was Alexander Walker that said the coach woke up choosing violence, Anthony Edwards said, I think he went to sleep last night with violence on his mind, and you know how you go to sleep with something on your mind and you're hoping when you wake up. I don't think his sleep was good. The way he did us in film today, particularly me, it was a tough day. Story goes on to read, Finch was already angry after the Wolves' lackluster showing in Monday's win over a depleted Atlanta team. That carried over 36 hours later into the team's film session on Wednesday. Edwards said, he was basically telling us how much do we care about the game. We can't say we care about the game at all with the stuff that we watched. Story continues, Finch is typically candid in these sessions and isn't afraid to get on players regardless of their status on the team, regardless of their status on the team. Edwards has never been spared from Finch's film clips and sharp tongue that offers blunt critiques. Wednesday's was at another level, the player said. Nobody escaped Finch's wrath. Ant said, when he was getting on us, especially to me, as you're growing up to be a young adult, you always think about, he trying me. I want to say something back. He trying my manhood. Your manhood. I got a joke there, but I'm not going to use it. But when you think about it, I would have been a fool in film to say something back. He ain't trying my manhood because the clips on there, they look bad. I definitely felt some type of way about it. I told my best buddy, Finchy got on my butt today, but he was right. I appreciate Ant understanding it, right? I think that's part of the problem with a lot of young people nowadays, especially athletes. I think their manhood is being tried. You know, he's trying my manhood. No, he's just trying to get you to earn your paycheck. When the whistle blows, the opening tap, play hard until the final buzzer goes off. Play the proper way. Play the team you're supposed to play. Get back on defense. Don't let the ball get sticky. Don't always go to hero ball. Don't complain to the referees. Follow the game plan. Put some effort into it start to finish. That's all he's trying to do. He's not challenging your manhood. Earn your pay. What was Ant's contract? $250 million? $250 million to play hoops. For over, was that 4 years, 5 years, whatever I don't know how long the contract is. It's like, People are paying a lot of money to watch you play basketball, man. Can't you give it a little bit? I'm just telling you, people always say you're always picking on the NBA. They don't always try in football. They don't always try in baseball. They don't always try in hockey. Well, maybe. Sure doesn't seem as obvious to me if they're not. They sure hide it well in those sports. Hard to go you can't go half speed in football very often. You get killed out there.
Yeah.
Same with hockey. You don't have a swivel on your head and you're not trying hard, you're going to get hurt, man. In baseball, I don't know. In baseball you try it all. I don't know. You swing. I guess most guys, I think, try to hit the ball when it's coming out. And if the guy sees a fly ball, I don't see many guys dogging after a fly ball.
It drives me crazy in baseball how many of them will not run out routine ground balls.
Well, that's awful.
Like they're running 60% down the line.
So then Finch got tossed last night because it was still bad. Even after the chewing out in the film session, said Finch also received a technical in the first quarter. On the first technical, crew chief Pat Frayer told a pool reporter Finch used profanity directed toward one official. On the second, he made derogatory comments toward all the officials. A source who has not to be identified said Finch referred to the officials as bozos.
Oh my gosh. Above average.
You know what? You can call me this, you can call me that, you can call me that, but when you call me bozo, well, that's where I draw the line. You're out. Head to the locker room. You called them bozos. For me, it was always if you said your grandma wears army boots.
Yeah.
That's when you get tossed. But I didn't think just calling somebody a bozo.
What if they said, hey, bozo, your grandma wears army boots?
Oh,
and combined it.
Well, now you're talking about fines and suspensions. And, you look at the team won, and more than likely they'll make postseason. And maybe when postseason comes, I don't know if they're bad habits if it's just a lack of effort, if it's not caring. Remember when the superstar Mike Morris, he said there was a coach, I think it was a college coach that he played under. And I'll never forget the saying. The coach would say, either you don't care or you don't know. And it better be that you don't know, right? It better be it better not be that you don't care, because then you're not playing anymore. And I just think sometimes guys, it just looks like sometimes they don't care. And this team just should be better than this. It's called having better expectations. Look, Big Meow was brilliant last night. Now he had a double-double. He only had 14 points. He was 4, but he had 5 assists like in the first quarter. He was so good last night. That Knickerbocker team was really good. They beat and I know we destroyed the Nuggets as well. I mean, they didn't destroy the Nuggets. They ended up like an 8-10 point victory. It's a really good game. What I saw, I didn't watch it start to finish, but I had it on, and anytime you'd hear some action going on, I'd look up from my handheld computer, which doubles as a communication device, and watch what was going on. And Ant was, once he decided to play a little bit, he had 33 points. He had what has been described as a very uneven first half, and that contributed to his 7 turnovers. That's too many, man. And look, if these were just one-offs, right? Once every couple of weeks, somebody has an off game, or they're not doing things right, or they're not sharing the ball, or not getting back on defense. Yeah, well, then it's okay. I know that everybody's going to have an off night. I mean, even Tennessee, you have an off show every once in a while. It doesn't happen often, but every once in a while you have an off show. I don't know if I ever have.
Well, for me, if you ask me, either you don't know or you don't care, it's the don't care.
Yeah. I think I'm in the same boat. I know I'm supposed to prepare, but I don't care. But, so I love the Wolves. It's a Whiff at the Wolves, brought to you by Affordable Electric.
They've won 4 in a row.
Yeah, they have.
What's wrong with winning, Dan?
There's nothing wrong with winning. I just feel like, again, I think was Phoenix shorthanded? Did they just look at it and say,
no,
they weren't even shorthanded? So why did they? I don't know.
According to John Krasinski, he thinks that was their best Wolves win of the year. So maybe they responded to Finchy choosing violence.
Well, and that's, I guess, my whole point of the rant is, why does it take that? Why? You're professionals, man. When you're a kid and you misbehave over and over and over again, sometimes you need to be taken down to the boiler room and given the paddle to get the message across, right? These aren't kids anymore. I mean, Ann admitted he's young, and he said that somewhere in here. And, he's very engaging. And he's by all accounts, he's a good kid. And he's a terrific talent. I just think he needs to start paying rent in my head because he's been living rent free, so he needs to give me some money. It's like that. Tell me, did you adopt Romo from Cocoa Puffs? No.
Coco's Heart?
Coco's Heart, is that where you got?
Yes.
And Romo was
Roma,
sorry. Roma.
I would never name her Romo. Big difference.
You know what, though? If you named your dog Romo, it could probably get an exemption into the Kennel Club. What is that called? The dog show thing they do? The American Kennel Club.
Is it like Westminster or something like that?
You could get the dog with an exemption to the Westminster if it was named Romo. Roma was a puppy, right?
Yes.
So Roma probably took a while to potty train, would annoy you, probably tore things up.
Yeah.
But you know what? By gosh, you still loved Roma, right?
Of course.
Yeah. And so the same thing with Ant. Ball gets sticky, hero ball, this, that, whatever, but we still love him. And we do love him here. But I just wish they would, and I know they've strung together wins, but it's just like, if you need the coach in a film session and then to get thrown from a game to get your best game out of you, what does the coach do for an encore? Does he have to actually resort to violence next time?
Because he can only do that so many times.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He might have to resort to actual violence, where he's going to have to grab guys by the shoulders and start, or take them into the locker room and give them a paddle. Is that what it's going to take? Does it have to be corporal punishment? Why can't you just do it more often? And I think the answer is the season's so long and you know matchups. You know which teams are the best teams and which teams aren't. Do you see some of the suggestions? Phil Silver. No. What's the first
Adam
name?
Silver?
Adam Silver.
I was going to bring it up in 5 questions.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then we'll just wait because we can use that then.
Okay.
He had some ideas about it, and I don't know if I'm much for any of them. I'm sure you're going to get to they're going to make the game shorter.
Yeah.
Because they're working too hard. And that's not the reason they're doing it. It's going to make all games uniform because apparently all other basketball, the quarters are 10 minutes instead of 12.
Yeah.
It would basically shorten the season by 13 games, the equivalent of 13 games. And then, of course, they think, well, that'll help load management. Well, will it really? I mean, will it just... I don't see how it helps load management because you still might have certain players. There was an example that somebody gave. I read it in a story where, how did he phrase it? Where, well, some guy, he just might play more minutes in the game. You know what I'm saying? He'll have less rest during the game than he will actually. You understand what I'm saying? Not like he's actually getting days off. You know, he's playing 13 less games, but he might be playing more minutes in a game because they need him on the court more often. It's bizarre.
Well, John Krasinski suggested, if you're going to cut off the 8 minutes a game, which would then lead to about 68 games, said just play 48-minute games for 68 games. Just cut those 14 games out of the schedule.
I think that would be, but of course...
Won't happen.
Yeah, well, because then...
It's too much money.
Right, the players couldn't make the kind of money. So, yeah, I know in a perfect world that's what you would do, but... And I guess if all fans were willing, well, it's about a third of the schedule. Let's just say it's not quite a third, but let's say a third of the schedule. If they're willing to pay a third more in ticket prices, the league would probably do it. But who wants to do that when they're already... Tickets already, unless you're Rosen, the tickets are so exorbitant that you just don't want to pay that kind of money. I'm sure there are times where the Wild, I can throw a wet blanket on. I just really haven't seen it yet this year, particularly with the way they started the season when they were so low. And part of that was low expectations. You know, they didn't make a lot of changes to the roster coming into this season because they really didn't have the ability to because of the onerous. Onerous, or is it onerous? I think it was onerous. He looked it up the other day for me. The Parisi Suter deals that'll finally go away. We'll have some more cap space. But they played really well. And I mean, they were getting great goaltending. Guys were stepping up and playing well. Kaprizov, who I think you've told me historically gets off to kind of a slow start in the season, came right out of the gate.
Great start.
He had a great start to the season. I am a little miffed that they're having trouble at home. Because generally speaking, most teams, I think, seem to play better at home for whatever reason. Part of it, I guess, is, the fans pump you up. But, I mean, we've seen a lot of teams lose on the road, including when the Wild play, because they won another one on the road last night against a really good Toronto team. And so it's hard for me to pick on the Wild right now, and I'm capable of it. We've spent plenty of time beating up on the Wild. we praise them if they deserve it, and if they don't, they won the game last night. The Wolves won. That's great. They won 4 in a row, and we're delighted. But just the way they had to be, the way they had to be motivated to get there is just ridiculous. The coach had to resort to violence. He went to bed with violence on his mind. And he was violent the next day in the film session. And that still didn't get you to play the right way. And finally, he had to get tossed. And then, as you see later in the story, I don't have the quote here, I could find it. But I think Ant said, it says, after he got tossed out of the game, he says, it gave us a bunch of energy. They threw him out and we had his back. I definitely had his back. I told him, I got you. Got you.
Got you.
And so it took he can't get tossed every night because eventually that's going to lose its effectiveness, right? Because everybody's going to go, well, he's really not mad. He's just pretending he is now to try to motivate us. He's not mad. And so then what are you going to do next? So and like we said with the Wild, they just found out that the best player in the team is going to be out for 4 weeks. That would tend to make you maybe have a little dog in you, right? Maybe a little.
Well, I wish they would have had that dog in them when Kirill was, I guess, somewhat healthy these last couple games because they didn't play very well with Kirill in the lineup.
No, they did not.
It's almost like the light bulb comes on. Oh, we got to work really hard tonight because we don't have Kirill Kaprizov here.
There you go. Maybe that's it. Well, what are you waiting for? Why would you wait for you to lose your best player? Maybe I'll wet blanket it.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't looked at it from that angle, but you're a great hockey mind. I'm not. I mean, what surrounds the state?
A big blue line.
Where did you cut your teeth?
In the penalty box.
Who was the referee?
My mother.
Well, there you go. So that's what you did when you grew up. I didn't. So and maybe that's what it took. And Toronto's a pretty good team. I had to look because I wanted to wet blanket today. I saw that they won, and I said, well, they beat Toronto. Let's see what Toronto's record's like. Maybe they're bottom. They're like 5th in the East. They have either are they 2 games better or worse than us in the loss column?
Well, I know we have 2 more points than them now.
Well, maybe that. Okay, well, I don't know. The records were almost identical. So, well, that's a pretty good team then.
They're 30-19-2. We're 30-17-4.
Yeah, so we've lost two more in the loss column part. We've lost 2 more games, or they've lost 2 more games.
2 less, but technically those losses were just in overtime.
Right. But I mean, just when you look at that 1-loss record, it's just like there it is. So maybe there is a reason to wet blanket it up a little bit. I don't know. I'm glad you did that. I don't know what you got against the Wild. You have to pick on them all the time. Here was my question about it. The surgery, apparently we know it's lower body, is tied to the original injury, right? This wasn't a new one when he came back, right?
He already missed a month.
Well, then, what if he'd had this? I guess they wanted, I know what the strategy was. Well, let's see if he just needs rest. Had they made that decision to do surgery a month ago, he'd be coming back in 2 weeks, maybe. Right?
Sure.
So, and again, were the games more important when he was out or when he comes back or whatever, but maybe they should have opted for surgery right away. I don't know. What was it record when he was gone for that month? They kept their head above water. They made a wave when they could, right? So it wasn't the end of the world.
They weren't playing at the same level, but...
Right. And now since the surgery announcement, they're 1-0, right? So we'll keep track and see how that works. Both winter teams are interesting. They both have their positives and their negatives. I just don't think it's that much to ask. I'm sorry. Do you remember when I motivated the Twins? Well, first I motivated them to win a division title. We have the soundbite from A.J. Brzezinski. Could you play it again for people that don't believe it? It's been played hundreds.
I played it in the Open today.
Did you? It's been played hundreds of times.
Say a whole lot of character. I just want to say you doubted us, but now we're here.
I inspired an entire team. I also motivated the Polettes to want to sell the team. Apparently, that's what Jim Souhan and LaBelle Lee Neal say. They say I'm the reason why the Polettes want to sell because I just kept criticizing the way they operated the team and got so many people on my side. It was like the Frankenstein movie. Everybody's got pitchforks, and I'm there. I'm Dr. Frankenstein. Apparently, that's who I am. I never met Mary Shelley. I have no idea. I know who she is, but I've never met her. Why am I Frankenstein? I'm just pointing out the truth, the whole truth, or at least some semblance of the truth is all I'm trying to do. Just trying to help. And then people will, then they'll get on me. Wet blanket on the wolves. Wet blanket. I'm just, look. You mark my words. If this Wolves Club starts to do the things that they're capable of, it's going to be because of me. That's what I do. We'll come back. We'll do 5, 3, 4. 10, we're going to... Did we already cover everything? No, we got some more Adam Silver stuff. What else do you got?
Yeah, you covered most of what I was going to talk about. But how about what is the number one big game of all time?